Hey guys, welcome back, and we got some new post. Oh, new message from Park Sang-gun. Message from Kang.
No puedo regresar.
And message from Alicia. Alicia's separated. We got Park and we got Kang. Let's do Park first. Actually, let's do Kang first. We got a plan gone awry and breaking out. I was lying in my bed with my eyes closed. I could feel a breeze coming and going. Being no mosquitoes kept in touch with my thoughts. Damn pests. I flicked a bloody body of a mosquito away like a small bugger. Dinner time. A small tray was pushed inside through a tiny window. A bowl of rice, plate of cabbage, 2 pieces of fried chicken, and a banana. Why do I only get 1 piece of chicken? Fat man on the opposite cell yelled when my guard was delivering meals. He didn't get an answer. I picked a banana from a tray and started peeling it. My diet had actually become much healthier since I'd been sent here. I never had a meal on time back at a police station. And food was always burgers, chicken, fries, with occasional leftovers. Been a few times I got to eat some nice meals though, when Chang Young-min would bring us over some of his homemade bentos. The kid would always say something like a healthy body is necessary to defend justice, which made it sound like a whiny old lady. But I was starting to miss that kid. I had no idea how he'd been doing. He must be in a lot of trouble right now. Or maybe not. The people who framed me must be keeping out of this case altogether. What happened to Min Jun was all my fault. On the day I went to rescue Jian, I tried to get Min Jun to join the mission, but I hadn't been able to reach him. The kid had always been one person who could never miss a call. First time ever I couldn't find him. Should realise that someone might have been what had gone wrong then. He never showed up at a police station afterwards either. I told Chang Young-min that Min Jun had been sick, but honestly, I had no idea where he'd been. It turned out he was dead. His body had been hidden in my room. He must have known something and I'd killed him for it. The murderer must have also known it was the same day as the anniversary of the lieutenant's death. He knew that I would be very drunk that day, and so would have had a chance of success. 2 birds with 1 stone. Had some idea what that bastard could be. I had no evidence at the moment. I needed to find a way to get out of here first. A tall shadow moved over the cell floor. The guard aboard the tray was still here. He was watching me eat, almost like he was monitoring me. His name was Young Hyuk. At least what I'd heard the officer of the other guards calling him. He was over 2 meters tall and very muscular. He might be the most menacing person in the detention centre. Anyone who stood before him might feel like they were standing in front of an impenetrable wall. However, Young Hyuk had a secret. Detention Centre number 6 was a prison that used to exclusively hold police officers who had been in trouble. It did not belong to a police system, and therefore was not under supervision of the police bureaucracy. Therefore, everyone who had been thrown in here had to go through a ritual. The fat man on the opposite cell was locked up because of a 50 million won bribe. Every day he and I were forced to strip naked and were blasted by cold water. It was not much different than a cold shower to me. But the fat man, he would have screamed bloody murder by the time the water hit him. The more he screamed, however, the more excited the guards would get. For them, it turned into a kind of entertainment. Young Hyuk's reaction, however, seemed a little different from the rest of the cheering mob. One of my best buddies was gay. I could sense the same vibe from him. The fat man yelled at me in a lowered voice. "Hey, can I trade this banana for your chicken?" "Screw you." I suddenly had an idea. But I needed someone's help. 2 minutes later, Young Hyuk came back to take the trays away. There was something extra in the tray, a small paper note. Now, all I could do was wait until the middle of the night. Midnight. Most people here had fallen asleep, but I was still sitting in a chair in the interrogation room, but it seemed numerous occupants. A piece of yellow tape was covering my mouth. My hands had been cuffed behind my back, and many brand new scars had been added to the current collection of my body. I had made a mistake. Young Hyuk was standing on the fluorescent light with a belt in his hand. His uniform was now soaking wet with sweat. Just a moment, a belt had hit on my left eye, which was so bruised I couldn't even open it anymore. I had absolutely no idea. I absolutely hated these simple-minded meatheads, especially when they could overpower me. They'd simply agreed to my proposal. I would let my buddies find them a few handsome guys as thank yous. But everyone had been happy. Now he was just torturing me for no one's benefit. Well, Since enticement had not worked out, that left me the only choice: threats. Although, how was I supposed to threaten him under the current circumstances? Should I summon that guy? Didn't seem like a good idea. Young Hyuk seemed like he would never get tired. The pain it inflicted me was almost over the edge of what I could tolerate. I tried my best to control it, but in the end, he still woke up. The light from a swinging bulb cast moving shadows over his impatient face. Idiot! I took a pen out and stabbed it into him. The pen went right through his eye socket and into his brain. He was dead in an instant. So was my consciousness. When I woke up, I found myself back in the cell. It was a different one this time. There was more guards at the door. I felt my pocket as usual. There was another note. I opened it and it said, "Your clothes stink. I told him to get you new sets." The bastard landed me in such a big mess. All he cared about was some clean clothes. And now another life on my hands. Minjun's case was still highly inconclusive. This one was much more straightforward. I had indeed killed young Hyuk. How could this have happened? Damn it. Meanwhile, my name is Park Sang-gun. I'm 14 years old. I lived in a mental hospital. The vice president of the hospital was Dr. Lee Young-suk. He was also my supervising doctor. Ever since I'd been sent there 10 over years ago, he had been raping me. I used to cry out loud in my room and hide. They would scream at me to shut up. I tried keeping a diary to relieve my stress, but I realised the nurses would read it behind my back. Once feeling extremely desperate, I would pick up a pen and stab myself with it. I forced myself not to cry, no matter how painful it was. It was an exercise. After a while, I gradually became numb to the pain. That way, it would be less painful when I had to go to that room again. Most of the nurses in this hospital were women, but I did come to know one male nurse. His name was Lee Young-chul. The other nurses said he was a nephew of Lee Young-seok. It was the only reason I got the job. Every Tuesday night, he would take me to Lee Young-seok's office. He would then just wait outside until it was over. He would then bring me back to a room. One day he noticed my scars. He would tell me those were not caused by his uncle. After he found out that I'd been hurting myself, he decided to confiscate my pen. Coward. He knew what his uncle had been doing to me. He also knew he'd read my diaries too. He was too afraid to stop his uncle, but would take away my pen. I closed the door. I threw myself at his feet, holding onto his legs, began crying on top of my lungs. As expected, he panicked, touched my head with his hands and tried to console me. Since that moment, he had become an ally of mine. As an ally, Lee Young-chul would sometimes use his limited power to get me some small privileges. For instance, I could walk in the garden for a little bit longer than the others. If I could hold out for a little longer, maybe I could even find a chance to escape from here. Just when the tiniest ray of hope was beginning to show, I heard a piece of horrible news. My mum had died. I overheard it from the nurses. None of them would even tell me the news to my face. They would gossip about me behind my back, commenting on what a poor child I was. I didn't want their pathetic sympathy. I just wanted Mum. For the last 2 years, no one ever visited me. Why had Mum never come to visit me? I knew why. It must have something to do with Dad. He saw me off first, kept torturing Mum at home, and prevented her from visiting me. He was not my dad. He was a bad person, a monster. I wanted to kill him. I pretended I hadn't heard the news. Every night I would cover my face with my blankets when nurses wouldn't notice me crying. In secret, however, I began to plan my escape. It was another Tuesday night, in a room without light. There was only pale moonlight. He and I, 2 people. Everything exactly the same as 2 years ago, except for the lack of a sinister smell in the air. I had long given up on the fight. He was no longer needed when someone like me was about to subdue me. But this night would not be the same as usual. He didn't expect me to pick up a chair and throw it at his head. He pushed me to the ground. Lee Young-suk was outraged. He slapped me square in the face twice with both his hands. I fell to the ground. Everything looked like a blur and he didn't have any more strength to fight back. The chair only broke the phone behind him. I knew I had to be physically stronger to have a chance. The horrible diet of mental and physical torture I've been subjected to was only making me weaker and weaker every day. The door opened. I didn't have to look to know it was Lee Young-chul. He had seen the scene countless times. He isn't feeling well today. Shall we wait until another day? Pigs were flying. When did he start defending me? I juggled twice despite my bleeding lips. Who gave you permission to speak? Facing rage with his uncle, a little bit of courage Li Young Chao had mustered up, crumbled immediately. He walked out of the room in silence and closed the door behind him. Nothing had changed. Li took off his belt and gave me an unusual lesson, followed by the usual routine. Nothing had changed. No, that wasn't true. Something had changed. I had changed. I was no longer that same kid from 2 years ago. Even though I couldn't really remember what I'd been like back then. Nevertheless, I knew one thing was sure. Even if I became a pile of worthless human garbage, I would stay here forever. I would not stay here forever. I wanted to go home. I had to go home. God, do you hear my wish? Okay. So, you need to not kill him. Well, you need to stab him. So I'm going to push him to the ground and then stab him. Well, I'm going to throw a chair at his head. Let's try this, shall we? Young Hyuk John was hit straight in the face by the chair. He lost his balance and fell to the ground. He watched his eye break the handcuffs from my bare hands. He couldn't process what he was seeing. 1, 2, 3. I stomped his bloody face to my feet over again. I see myself break another unfortunate batter's arm in one stomp. If I kept going, he was going to die. I stepped away from the corner of a dark room and walked towards the centre. Mysterious invisible force appeared again almost immediately. So was there numerous dark hands that were pushing me onto my shoulders, grabbing my ankles, and trying to stop me from walking into light and regaining control of my body. I was pushed down to the ground, but I kept falling. More hands were grabbing my feet, legs, and dragging me into the opposite direction. I could not give in. I would not give in. At last I grabbed my feet. Enough, you bastard! Get out of here! Hands suddenly scattered away. I could see clearly again. Young Hyuk was crouched in the corner, looking at me with fear. He reminded me of a frightened little rabbit. I had scared him. He had not realised the person standing in front of him was a different one now. There was a wallet on the floor. It wasn't mine. I picked it up, put a few bills, credit cards, and receipts from a gay barber only a few days ago. As well as a family photo. A beautiful wife and a lovely daughter. Oh, what a happy family. The happy ladies surely had no idea of the secret life that his husband and father of a family had been leading. But the little rabbit had no other choice. I plunged a pen deeper into his throat. He stumbled back, pulling out the pen and threw it on the floor. Lots of blood was gushing out of a hole in his neck. I could see what he wanted to kill me very badly. However, with only one hand recovering his wound, he tripped and lost his balance, making a mess of his office. Soon he was lying on the floor with his eyes wide open. He was no longer breathing. He was dead. That was too good for him. Before anyone noticed what happened, I quickly searched the room inside. I found his hospital key card, some cash and some Swiss Army knife. I stripped his clothes, pants off him, and put them on myself so mine wouldn't get bloody. I then cut his thing off. I stuffed it in his mouth. In that moment I felt so relieved. Being the air in his room suddenly felt cleansed. I opened the window and slid down the drain pipe. The security guard was watching a TV in his office at the main gate. I ducked down and snuck past the window, opened the main gate and the swipe of a keycard and ran outside. Finally I was free. Finally I could go home. I walked all the way home with the flimsy clothes I was wearing. I walked past Alex's seafood store. I walked past Sumi's family bakery. I walked past a tobacco and alcohol store that I'd forgotten to lock up. I picked up the most expensive bottle of vodka from a shelf. It was for my dad. Twice a week. 8 times a month. Multiplied by 12. 1996 times 2. 192. Let me round it up to 200. I was walking briskly. At the same time I was quietly calculating how many times I might have been hit by Dad for the past 2 years. Just an estimate. It was almost sunrise when I finally saw my familiar yet strange home. As expected, Dad was sound asleep. I changed into Mum's favourite coat. Then I went to the kitchen and picked up a knife Mum used to cut meat. At last I came to my dad's bed. Dad, I'm home. 1, 2, 3. 66, 67. The sound of knife going out of his body was almost musical melody. 122, 123, 124, 129, 200. Blood was splashed all over the bed and the floor. It was disgusting. I sprinkled with vodka and poured it all over my home and the room. Then I lit a match. Bye, Dad. Bye. Bye, Mum. The small flame was jumping and growing. It was becoming bigger and bigger. In the end, it grew so big it swallowed this place up. I used to call home. I'd never seen anything more beautiful. In the ashes, I just started a brand new life. That's my guess. Wow. Interesting. And I think now, if you notice down there, I don't think his story is actually going to continue anymore because we've got a blank S there. Like with that one, it's white. I think that may be the end of the story. I mean, what a story, but yeah. We got more for Spotty, we got more for everybody else except him and him. Unless he has a branching path somewhere, which he could very well do. I'll check the profiles. Yeah, his profile looks complete now. Your profile? Meanwhile, we have so many assassinations on, I think, now. I will say, I do really like her new outfit. Feisty. But yeah. That's going to do it for me today, guys. Next time I'm going to do this one, whichever this one is. This one. Bye-bye.